Your everyday Roosevelt dimes could be hiding serious value. Certain years, rare mint marks, and even tiny errors make these 10-cent coins worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to collectors. Don't spend that dime too quickly. Check it first. It might be a hidden treasure. The 1967 United States one-dime coin is one of those small yet fascinating pieces of American history that often slips under the radar. To most people, it's just a dime, 10 cents, a coin that buys very little today and circulates so widely that it hardly feels special. But in the world of coin collectors, even a coin as ordinary as the 1967 dime can carry with it an incredible story of transition, hidden value, errors, and history that makes it far more interesting than its face value suggests. The first thing to know about the 1967 dime is that it belongs to the Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946. This design was created as a tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who had passed away in 1945. Roosevelt was honored not only for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, but also for his connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which raised funds to fight polio, a disease he had personally battled. John R. Sinek, chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, designed the coin. His portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse has remained the same from 1946 to today, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage. The obverse of the 1967 dime shows Roosevelt facing left, with the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the year 1967. Unlike most modern coins, you won't find a mint mark here. The reverse carries the familiar torch flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The inscriptions read United States of America, E pluribus unum, and one dime. This simple yet powerful design has been a staple of American coinage for decades. One unusual thing about the 1967 dime is that it was struck during a very specific and unusual moment in U.S. coinage history. In the mid-1960s, the United States was facing a massive coin shortage. People were hoarding silver coins because silver prices were rising, and the U.S. Mint struggled to keep enough coins in circulation. To address this crisis, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965. This law changed the composition of dimes and quarters from 90% silver to a clad composition of copper and nickel. It also eliminated mint marks entirely for a few years, from 1965 through 1967, in an effort to discourage collectors from hoarding coins by mint location. This means that every 1967 dime you see, whether it was made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, carries no mint mark. The Mint also suspended proof sets during these years, instead releasing something called Special Mint Sets, SMS. These coins were struck with extra care and had a higher quality finish than regular circulation strikes, but were not quite proofs. For collectors today, the 1967 SMS dimes are highly desirable, especially when they survive in superb condition with deep cameo contrast. In terms of composition, the 1967 dime is a copper-nickel clad coin. The outer layers are 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. Each coin weighs 2.27 grams and measures 17.91 millimeters in diameter. Unlike earlier silver dimes, which carried intrinsic value from their precious metal content, the 1967 dime was worth only its face value in metal terms. This made it much less likely to be hoarded, which was exactly what the government wanted at the time. Now, let's talk about value. In circulated condition, the 1967 dime is common and worth only face value, 10 cents. Billions were minted that year, so finding one in pocket change today is not rare. But in uncirculated condition, and especially in top-graded examples, things get more interesting. A high-grade mint state 1967 dime, with strong luster and no distracting marks, can sell for $20 to $50. In even higher grades like MS67 or MS68, collectors are willing to pay much more, sometimes in the hundreds of dollars, because such coins are scarce in that level of perfection. The 1967 SMS dimes are where serious value starts to appear. These coins were made only for collectors with special striking quality. Most are relatively affordable, with nice examples available for $10 to $30. But the finest ones, graded SP67 or higher with cameo or deep cameo designations, are extremely rare and desirable. A 1967 SMS dime graded SP69 deep cameo has sold for over $1,000 at auction, And these sales show just how much collectors prize these coins when they are the very best of the best. Error coins add even more intrigue to the 1967 dime. Because billions of coins were produced, mistakes were bound to happen. Collectors especially look for double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other minting errors. For example, a 1967 dime struck significantly off-center can bring $100 to $200, depending on how dramatic the error is and whether the date remains visible. A 1967 dime with a clipped planchet, showing a curved or straight cut missing from the coin, might sell for $50 to $150. More dramatic errors, such as a 1967 dime struck on a wrong planchet, like a cent or a foreign coin blank, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on rarity. One particularly collectible variety is the full bands designation, which applies to the torch on the reverse. If the horizontal bands on the torch are fully separated and sharply struck, the coin is labeled as full bands, FB. Collectors prize these because they show exceptional quality in the strike. A 1967 dime with full bands in high grade can command strong premiums, often several $100s, especially if it comes from an SMS set with deep cameo contrast. What makes the 1967 dime fascinating is not just its design or its errors, but the larger story it tells about American coinage in the 1960s. It represents a turning point. The shift from silver to clad coinage, the government's attempt to discourage hoarding, and the experiments with special mint sets that bridged the gap until proof coins returned in 1968. Every 1967 dime you see is a reminder of that turbulent period in U.S. monetary history, when everyday coins were changing in ways that would affect collectors and the public for decades to come. Imagine someone finding a 1967 dime in their pocket today, thinking nothing of it. Then imagine another person, a collector, spotting the same coin in a special mint set, with flawless surfaces and deep cameo contrast. To one person, it's 10 cents. To another, it's a rare collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That's the beauty of numismatics, the idea that treasures hide in plain sight, and that even the smallest, most ordinary coin can carry with it a world of history, artistry, and unexpected value. So the next time you come across a 1967 dime, take a moment to appreciate it. Look closely at the details. Is it a circulation strike? Or is it from an SMS set with extra shine? Does it show strong strike details, maybe even full bands on the torch? Could it be an error coin with an off-center design or a clipped planchet? You never know. What looks like a simple dime might actually be a piece of history worth far more than 10 cents. The 1967 dime may not be made of silver, but it shines with historical importance and collector intrigue. It's a coin that reminds us that sometimes the most ordinary-looking objects can tell extraordinary stories. The 1993 United States Roosevelt dime is one of those coins most people barely notice as it passes through their hands. After all, dimes are among the most common coins in circulation, light in weight, easy to overlook, and often tossed into jars or glove compartments without a second thought. Yet, like so many coins in American history, the 1993 dime carries a story that stretches back decades, tied to the enduring image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the challenges of modern minting, and the world of errors and varieties that make collectors lean forward with excitement. In the right circumstances, a dime from 1993 can turn from just 10 cents into hundreds, even thousands of dollars, thanks to the peculiar and often unpredictable nature of coin production. The obverse of the 1993 dime continues to showcase the dignified profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. This portrait, designed by John R. Sinek, was introduced in 1946 to honor Roosevelt after his death the year before. On the coin, Roosevelt faces left, his features sharply defined, with inscriptions surrounding him, "Liberty" to the left, "In God We Trust" beneath his chin, the date 1993 to the lower right, and the mint mark tucked just above the date. By 1993, dimes were being struck at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark, Denver coins bore a small D, and San Francisco produced the proof coins, each with an S. Sinek's initials JS appear discreetly at the base of Roosevelt's neck. On the reverse, the design presents a torch flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right. This imagery reflects strength, peace, and victory, theme strongly tied to Roosevelt's leadership during World War II. United States of America, arches above, E pluribus unum runs across the center, and 1 dime anchors the bottom. For decades, this reverse has been a constant, making it one of the most familiar coin designs in modern America. The 1993 dime is composed of a copper core sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it the familiar silver-gray color. Each coin weighs 2.27 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. While the composition and size are uniform, the sheer scale of minting means that mistakes occasionally slip through, and it's those mistakes that elevate the humble dime to a prized collectible. By 1993, the U.S. Mint had produced billions of dimes over the decades, and with high-speed presses striking coins at incredible rates, error coins were bound to emerge. Among the most desirable errors for this year are off-center strikes, where the design is shifted to one side, leaving a crescent of blank planchet visible. The value of such an error depends on how far off-center the strike is and whether the full date remains visible. A dramatic off-center 1993 dime with the date intact can sell for several $100s at auction. Another fascinating error involves broad strikes, which occur when a dime is struck without the collar that normally contains the metal. This causes the coin to spread outward, producing a slightly larger, distorted piece. Broad strikes from 1993 can bring anywhere from $50 to $150 depending on condition and visual appeal. Double die errors, though less common, are also collectible. These occur when the design elements appear doubled due to a misalignment during die creation. On 1993 dimes, doubling may be visible on the date, lettering, or torch details. Strong double dies are rare and can command significant premiums, often in the hundreds of dollars when discovered and certified by grading services. Then there are wrong planchet errors, some of the rarest and most valuable mistakes in modern U.S. coinage. A 1993 dime accidentally struck on a foreign planchet or even on a planchet intended for another U.S. denomination, such as a cent or a nickel, would be an extraordinary find. These errors are usually lighter or heavier than a normal dime, or they show different coloration. At auction, wrong planchet 1993 dimes have the potential to sell for thousands of dollars, making them some of the most exciting rarities a collector could hope to encounter. Condition also plays a major role in the value of the 1993 dime. While most circulated examples remain worth only face value, high-grade mint state coins with sharp strikes and brilliant luster are prized. Collectors seek coins with the full torch designation, meaning both the horizontal and vertical lines on the torch are fully struck and clear. Dimes with this level of detail in MS67 or higher grades can sell for impressive amounts, sometimes reaching into the hundreds of dollars, because they represent the very best survivors from billions of coins produced. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are another area of interest. These coins were specially struck with polished dies and planchets, creating mirror-like fields and frosted devices. Proof dimes are collected for their beauty and perfection, and a 1993 S-Proof graded PR70 Deep Cameo by a leading grading company can sell for several $100s. Occasionally, a proof coin emerges with an unusual error, such as a missing cameo contrast or strike-through, which makes it even more valuable. Auction results highlight just how much collectors are willing to pay for 1993 dimes under the right circumstances. A high-grade 1993 P dime with full torch designation in MS68 has sold for more than $1,000. A 1993 D dime graded MS67 with exceptional luster and eye appeal fetched several $100s. Proof 1993 S dimes in PR70 Deep Cameo have sold for similar amounts, underscoring how even modern proof coins can achieve remarkable prices when preserved in pristine condition. Dramatic error coins, like off-centers and wrong planchets, have achieved even more, with some examples climbing past the $2,000 mark. The appeal of the 1993 dime lies in its dual nature. It's both common and rare. On one hand, billions were minted, and most people can still find them in their pocket change. On the other, the rarest varieties and highest grade survivors are scarce, commanding prices that defy the coin's humble face value. This is what makes collecting modern dimes so engaging. The thrill of discovering that the coin you overlooked in a handful of change might, under closer inspection, be worth far more than 10 cents. The 1990s were an interesting time in U.S. coinage. The state quarter program was only a few years away, and coins like the 1993 dime represented the stability of long-running designs before major changes shook up circulating coinage. For collectors, these coins serve as both a link to tradition and a reminder of the surprises hidden in everyday change. So the next time you spot a 1993 dime in your hand, take a closer look. Examine the strike, check for doubling, study the torch lines, and weigh the coin if something feels unusual. You may discover a high-grade gem, an elusive full torch, or even a rare error that could be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Because in the world of coin collecting, it's not just about the face value. It's about the history, the artistry, and the chance that one small dime could be hiding extraordinary value. The 2007 United States Roosevelt dime may appear to most people as just another piece of everyday pocket change, a small silver-colored coin that has passed through hands at gas stations, grocery stores, and coffee shops. Yet, for coin collectors and numismatists, even a modern dime like the one struck in 2007 carries importance, especially when examined in terms of design, minting history, and the rare high-grade or error examples that can dramatically increase its value. While millions upon millions of these dimes were produced for circulation, the fascinating truth is that condition, rarity in specific grades, and minting mistakes have turned some of them into coins worth far more than 10 cents. To appreciate the 2007 dime, you first need to look at its design, which remains one of the most enduring in modern American coinage. The obverse features the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who is remembered for guiding the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. The design, created by John R. Sinek, first appeared in 1946, the year after Roosevelt's death, and it continues to be used today. On the obverse, you see Roosevelt facing left, with the word Liberty in front of his profile. In God We Trust position below, and the date 2007 struck clearly to the right. The small initials JS, standing for John Sinek, can be found at the base of Roosevelt's neck. On the reverse of the dime, we see a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left to represent peace and an oak branch on the right to signify strength and independence. Surrounding the design are the inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, with the denomination 1 dime at the bottom. This timeless design has remained unchanged for decades, making the Roosevelt dime instantly recognizable and a staple of everyday commerce in America. The 2007 dime was struck at multiple mints: the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, the Denver Mint with a D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, which produced proof coins bearing the S mint mark. In total, hundreds of millions of dimes were minted for circulation in Philadelphia and Denver, while the San Francisco Mint produced millions more in both clad-proof and silver-proof versions for collectors. With such large mintages, the 2007 dime is extremely common in circulation, meaning circulated examples are almost always worth face value, just 10 cents. But in numismatics, the real treasures lie in coins that are either nearly flawless or that feature rare errors. High-grade examples of the 2007 dime can be surprisingly valuable. Collectors often seek coins graded MS67, MS68, or higher by services such as PCGS or NGC. While the majority of dimes struck in 2007 entered circulation and picked up scratches, nicks, and dulling of luster, a small fraction were preserved in rolls or mint sets, retaining their full brilliance. A 2007 D Roosevelt dime graded MS68 with strong luster and virtually no marks has sold for hundreds of dollars at auction, proving that condition makes all the difference. Proof coins from San Francisco are also especially popular among collectors, particularly when they exhibit deep cameo contrast, frosted devices against mirror-like fields. Silver-proof versions, struck in 90% silver for collector sets, are worth significantly more than face value simply for their silver content, and perfect PR70 deep cameo examples can fetch impressive premiums, sometimes selling for $100 or more. Errors from 2007 dimes are another area that excites collectors. Though modern minting techniques have reduced the number of mistakes compared to earlier decades, errors still occur, and when they do, they can create valuable coins. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the planchet was misaligned, can sell for $50 to several $100s depending on how much of the design is affected and whether the date is still visible. Broad strike errors, where the coin is struck without the restraining collar and ends up larger and flatter than normal, are also seen for this year and generally bring $30 to $150 double strike errors, in which the coin was struck more than once with partial rotation or misalignment, create dramatic effects that collectors eagerly chase. Such coins can command prices in the hundreds. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a mistake during the blanking process, are also known for 2007 dimes, and these often sell for $40 to $100. One of the more desirable error types for modern dimes are missing clad layer errors, where the outer copper-nickel layer is absent, revealing the reddish copper core underneath. These striking-looking coins are highly collectible, and 2007 examples have sold for $200 to $400. Auction results confirm that even modern coins like the 2007 dime can achieve remarkable prices under the right conditions. A 2007 D Roosevelt dime graded MS68 sold for several $100s, while perfect PR70 deep cameo silver proofs have crossed the $100 mark. Error coins are equally compelling, with off-center strikes and missing clad layers realizing prices well above $200 in some cases. For a coin that most people see as only worth 10 cents, these results highlight the hidden potential that lies in careful searching and sharp observation. The 2007 dime also represents a continuation of America's enduring tradition of honoring Franklin D. Roosevelt on the 10-cent piece. More than 60 years after the design first appeared, it remains unchanged, symbolizing stability and continuity in U.S. coinage. For collectors, each year's dime offers opportunities not only to appreciate its historical symbolism but also to discover the rare coins that set themselves apart from the ordinary. For everyday people, it may sound unbelievable that a dime could be worth hundreds of dollars, but numismatic history shows this to be true time and again. The lesson here is clear. Never overlook the coins in your change. That 2007 dime in your pocket might be a common circulation coin, but if it has a dramatic error, retains its original pristine brilliance, or happens to be a silver proof in perfect condition, it could be worth far more than 10 cents. So, the next time you spot a 2007 Roosevelt dime, take a closer look. Check the condition. Look for unusual features like missing layers, off-center strikes, or other oddities. If it's a proof coin, inspect its contrast and preservation. You never know, you might just be holding a small treasure that collectors are willing to pay handsomely for. The 2007 dime reminds us that even in the modern era of mass production, rarity and value can still emerge in unexpected ways. And with auction prices showing that these coins can range from just face value to hundreds of dollars depending on grade and errors, it proves once again that in the world of coin collecting, no coin should ever be dismissed without a second look.